Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the Cedarfield family. Thank you for tuning in to our live stream here on April 10th at 3 o'clock. I just wanted to touch a little bit on thinking a lot about faith. And since it's such an important week for many of us, not just for Christians, but for the Jewish faith, but I also think we're a non-denominational community. And I didn't want to leave this week without touching on every faith tradition. I think it's important that we're all focusing on the same thing. Faith it's the confidence that we need to believe in what we cannot see. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it can't happen. For me, I know for many, with faith, we need to speak things into existence into our life, praying and believing and working to make it happen. And during that process of believing, what you can't see is that God is already making a way for it to be possible. And all you have to do is trust and to believe. And if you apply that action for whatever it is that you have hoped for, it will happen. I know some people believe that seeing is believing, but you can also believe in what you cannot see. That's what makes faith so great. Whether you celebrate Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhist, that's what makes faith so incredibly great. Knowing in your heart and in your mind that something is possible and you know that it's close to happening, that is also the blessing. Knowing that God is already setting things up for you and for me, things are already there for us. Then we walk through that process, having faith today, having faith tomorrow, having faith on Sunday, that we're hoping for something that will come to pass. And I hope as this weekend comes to pass for every resident, every team member, every family member that is listening, I hope and pray that your faith is guiding you in a direction that you hope and believe that all things are possible. That is my prayer for all of you on this Friday. I want all the residents to know that you are not alone this weekend. We are here for you. While we won't be on a normal schedule, there are many of us that are around throughout this whole weekend. Friday at 5 o'clock is not a checkout time for staff. For some it is. Some need to go home and rest. Some will be resting tomorrow. They may come back on Sunday, like Florence, Trish, and Margaret, and Annie. But we are here all weekend long. Many of the staff that are here, while yours truly and some of us may be sleeping, they absolutely know how to get in contact with us in the event that there's an emergency over the weekend. But we do have manager on duties throughout the campus in certain neighborhoods, and I just want to rest you assured that we are here with you. We are here with you. So, thank you for listening. Second, wanted to touch upon, for those of you that did not have a chance to see the governor's 2 p.m. briefing, it was an interesting briefing today. The governor announced a special task force. Many of you probably know Dr. Florano, who is our Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Health. and he commissioned a special task force devoted to long-term care, or in other words, the business that we're in here at Cedarfield. And he touched on 3 specific objectives of this task force. One is the finance piece to this task force. He wanted everyone to be rest assured that this task force is going to do all things necessary to support all long-term care communities throughout the Commonwealth, making sure that we have the right staffing in check and that we have the right testing in check, and then most importantly, that we have the most accurate levels of personal protective equipment. So that's the first charge of this task force. The second task is to make sure that we're utilizing the data. We keep talking about flattening the curve, and we're talking about collecting data from other countries. And so the second piece of this task force is using the data and to understand what the data is by each county, each zip code, and then communicate, more importantly, communicating the data to the providers and the general public. So this task force is going to make sure that in our situation, that Cedarfield, I am the task force coordinator here locally, that they'll communicate with me about the data that they're seeing in and around communities within a 5-mile radius, so that we can begin to utilize the databases that Matt Dameron has put together, and able to track staff who might be working at other communities, and seeing if there's a case or an outbreak at another community, we can track very quickly any staff that work at those communities, so that we can start further putting in place precautionary measures and or restrictions of those staff, so they're not coming to Cedarfield. So the data is incredibly important. And then the third thing that the governor talked about is coordination, making sure that the agencies that I have been talking about for the last 2 weeks are even further refined in the way that we're communicating and coordinating with each other, so that if we need to share resources, if we need to share PP&E, if we need to maybe share staff that aren't in COVID-19 situations and come to a provider, that coordination is there, so that we can all work in concert and we're all working together across different regions. So that was the governor's announcement today. I could not be more proud of the governor for doing this, taking a lead in doing this. 3 other states across the nation have done this, so our governor here is the 4th to really set up a long-term care task force. So, way to go, Governor. I did want to touch on one thing about the curve. One of the most frequently asked questions here in the last probably 2 days is, oh, the curve is just 10 days away, so this whole virus is we're going to be done with this thing in 10 days. So I want to clear something up. It's been a frequently asked question among families, residents, and team members alike. And so on this bar graph, this bell curve graph that you see here to my left, the orange part of the curve, the bell curve, is what we're trying to do. We're trying to flatten the curve. I think we all know that by now. We're not at the peak of the curve. the peak of this curve of what the data suggests right now is about 12 days away. So we're not at the peak. And so we're kind of like right over here, right in the middle of this bell curve climbing. So when we talk about 4,000 confirmed cases in the Commonwealth, or 117 unfortunate deaths, we're talking about this part of the curve. So we got a long way to go. 12 more days to get to the peak of this curve is a really critical time. These next 2 weeks are so incredibly critical that we do all in our power to keep flattening the curve. This is what we hope. Maybe if we all continue to practice staying at home, as tough as it is on a holiday weekend, maybe we can even flatten this curve even more by doing all of our part. Why accept a normal flattening of the curve? And so if we are at 4,000 confirmed cases here, we're about 120 deaths, unfortunately, in the Commonwealth. Even if we go 2 more days, we're right here, we're gonna double those numbers. And then come 12 more days, what we see today of 4,000 confirmed cases, that's gonna double, at least. So, I just wanted to explain that. That's probably the biggest question that's coming into the admin office. We're there, we're almost there. And then we have to go down the curve. We're gonna see a gradual sloping of those numbers. And it's up to us. It's up to me, it's up to Eddie, Renee, Trish, everyone on this campus to flatten this curve. We can flatten our own curve. We keep talking about the curve here in Virginia. We have our own curve here. Let's do all of our part to flatten our curve right here at Cedarfield. And we're doing a great job at it. I see it. I see everybody staying distant. Everyone I've walked into this afternoon is wearing a mask. Every team member has a mask. Every private duty person has a mask. Every agency has a mask. Renee has been threading some masks that folks have made with a very short string attached to it. She's 36 inches. She's put 36 inches of string on each mask. We have, so we're rest assured that Operation Mask is in full effect and that all the team members are wearing a mask. So hopefully that puts a little bit more color commentary to the situation ahead of us in the next 12 days. Over the last 2 days, I've talked a little bit about one construction update, which has to do with the water detention system project at the Parkview entrance that we're going to start on Monday. So when you receive your meals this afternoon, in the bag will be a memo from yours truly, and on the reverse side of this memo is a visual representation of that Parkview entrance area and how we're going to go about this project in the next 4 weeks. So it made sense to me that we utilize this gift of time right now while there's less traffic on the campus to actually forge ahead with this project and get this project out of the way. Once we're done this project, the Pathways to Wellness building plan of development is complete. So from April 13th to May 15th, we're going to do 2 phases of this project, which all this is outlined in the memo. We're going to install the water detention system. That's going to be in the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. And then the other 2.5, 3 weeks is to finish the fire lane, finish the walking path, so that that fire lane connects with the circle. And then that will complete this project. Can I get an amen? Amen. I can hear all of you out there. So, our general contractor, along with the subcontractor, JC Purcell, they got a really thorough project, and barring any weather, we should be able to get this done in 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, is Matt out there? Matt in the green room?
Yes.
Matt is in the green room. I'm going to turn it over to Matt, aka, hello Matt, how are you?
Hello.
I'm going to practice social distancing while you give some folks some updates about, I can't even look at you straight face right now. Weekend well-being.
Yes. So I have my bunny ears on. Quite a few of us around the building, especially in Wellness and Leisure, have our bunny ears on today. So I've seen a lot of smiling faces, so hopefully we can lift your spirits a little bit. As Michael was saying, this is a very holy time of the year, and honestly, it's a difficult time right now. We're used to going out and being with our families and our friends over Easter, big family Easter dinners and things of that nature. I know I'm going to miss it this year, but I implore you to not have or attend a family gathering, even though it's very, very difficult. So first and foremost this weekend, we really hope that you're able to use technology and FaceTime or video chat with your loved ones, your kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, to have that connection. It's really important, and I know I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time on FaceTime and video chat this weekend with my family, my dad, my kids, everyone. So
you're going to be by yourself?
I am going to be by myself this Easter. My kids are quarantining themselves, so that's been a very, very difficult time. I won't talk about it right now; it'll make me tear up. But we've kept our distance for the last month now. So we'll be doing a lot of video chatting over this weekend. So I encourage you to do the same. We have a few things scheduled for on channel 970. When Touchtown Slides aren't playing this weekend, we have a daddy-daughter duet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock on channel 970. And then tomorrow night, we have our evening relaxation. It's kind of through our exercise dimension. And it's just a nice time, 8:30 at night, nice kind of wind down from the day. On Sunday, of course, big Easter service, 10 o'clock in the morning, live streamed. And then again, 8:30 at night, we have that relaxation as well. One of the biggest things, because tomorrow is supposed to be really nice, get outside. You can get outside as much as you want, just stay distanced from your friends and wash your hands. Make sure you're taking all those precautions. Stay a good 6 feet away from your friends, but maybe take a walk. It's supposed to be really nice this weekend, so please try to get out and enjoy this time of year. And then, of course, our Touchtown app. I can't stress this enough. Seriously, I use it just about every day for my own personal entertainment. There's games, there's lectures, there is exercise, not only from outside professionals, but our own internal professionals with Carol and Elizabeth. Broadway plays, museum tours. It is an amazing, amazing piece of technology that we have access to. So, and they're updating and putting things on there every single day to keep it fresh. So please take a look at that as well. So again, like Michael said, we're here with you this weekend. And if we can do anything to help out, please let us know.
Amen. Just want to give people a glimpse into the Shaw household. So here's how I have been practicing in my own home. When I get home at night, I have a similar routine as to Ann Hopper when she was describing her routine a couple of days ago with Dr. Shearer. So before I even get in the house, I go in the garage, and the first thing I do is I actually spray my shoes, take off my clothes, put a robe on, and then I go shower. I go straight upstairs, and then I'm there for the night. I'm even FaceTiming my children in my own home, or we blow kisses down the steps. So I just want to give you some level of just a snapshot of what I'm actually doing in my own home to protect myself, to protect my children, to protect my bride, Julie, so that I can continue to manage this campus as well, so that I'm not even anything that might be coming into the house, not that they're going that very far, but just like another layer of protection that's happening in the Shaw house, so that when I come to work, I can be rest assured that my house is as sterile as it can possibly be, and have the confidence level that when I'm coming to work, I'm coming through that gate, I don't have a fever, I don't have symptoms, hopefully, you know, I'm not asymptomatic, and I'm able to, you know, work with the team and the residents that have issues to work out throughout the day. So, so that's what's happening at the Shaw household. I did want to touch on one thing today is the end of our U.S. Postal pickup program. So if you could, those of you, hope you've been doing an amazing job all week of picking up your mail at certain designated times. We'll pick that program back up on Monday. Eddie has assured me that all of our packages will be delivered that we have here in storage here by the end of the day. And Christie's also informed us that folks have really been complying with those times throughout the week to come pick up your U.S. mail. So thank you, thank you, thank you. On Monday, we'll pick back up with our grocery supermarket shopping with Ann Reed. You can tune into 970 for more details about that. And then additionally, we'll pick back up with the Park and Ride, the shuttle program, supply shuttle program, for those of you that live in the independent living apartments on Monday. So I think that is, do you have any questions come in? No questions? No texts, no emails, no calls? Okay. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Trish Carter, who has some words of spiritual help for us.
Good afternoon, everybody. In the Christian faith, today is a very important day, known as Good Friday. It's a day that symbolizes God suffering with us. I wanted to read to you a selection found in Searching for Shalom, written by Anne Weems. It's called I See Your Pain. I feel like it's a pretty good description of what a chaplain does. I see your pain and want to banish it with the wave of a star, but have no star. I see your tears and want to dry them with the hem of an angel's gown, but have no angel. I see your heart fall into the ground and want to return it, wrapped in cloths woven of rainbow, but have no rainbow. God is the one who has stars and angels and rainbows, and I am the one God sends to sit beside you until the stars come out and the angels dry your tears and your heart is back in place, rainbow blessed. Have a great weekend.